Many of us have at least at some point considered what could be the answer to the question of what happens after our life on this planet is over.
There it goes, right out of my chest.
Yeah, there it goes.
Wow.
Yep. That's what it was.
Various sorts of answers could actually be found about it, and only some of them are offered by numerous religions that exist today. Among other mysteries, we may also wonder if the concept of a soul actually exists. Today, we'll explore 20 occasions when a soul left the body, and this event was caught on camera. Number 1. A soul flies out the hospital door. To get us started, let's take a look at one of the most convincing videos that show a person's soul leaving their body. We can see that the camera is pointed at a hospital bed where a person is lying. As their life was coming to a close, we clearly witnessed a soul appear on the camera. At first, it seemed to get up from the body, but after staying there briefly, it flies away through the door, leaving the body behind. Number 2. Soul wanders around a car accident scene. This man was about to cross the street, but he stopped right in his tracks as he realized that a car accident had happened nearby. The collision has pushed one of the people involved right across the street, and it seems as if their soul has literally been left behind. For a brief moment, as we see the pedestrian trying to make sense of what just happened and call for help, the soul of the person is moving around the place of the accident as if it can't still fathom what has happened or it can't come to terms with it. After shortly sticking around, we see the soul move away. Number 3. A soul stuck in an ambulance car. As we have seen, places where people are struggling to keep their souls usually include hospitals and vehicles assigned to transport those in need. What the security camera filming an ambulance car has caught can't be explained scientifically. After this recording was made, we discovered that only a few people were at the site, including the driver, who can be seen moving around the car. What's important to notice is that no one was in the car, at least not in any reasonable sense. But even once the driver moves away from the ambulance, we see some movement in the car. This soul, who may have remained in the vehicle, seems to grab onto the car's door quite firmly and shut it closed. Even as people move around, they don't notice this strange existence. We later even see it open the door halfway, maybe to leave the vehicle, who knows. Number 4. A homeless man goes to sleep, and his soul leaves his body. The moment that the soul leaves the body can be quite unpredictable. In this next example, it happened out of nowhere on the street, as a homeless person has gone to sleep one last time. This video camera happened to have captured this moment. In the beginning, we see a man who has walked under the bridge toward what appears to be the place where he commonly resides. He seems quite tired and moves slowly. After leaving his stuff nearby, the man lies down and falls asleep. Soon after, the camera caught the shape of his soul. As time goes by, we begin to see this soul's shape more clearly, and since it appears to have stood up, it could even be that it just realized what had happened. Number 5. Motorcycle driver's soul appears on camera after an accident. As some of us may know, roads can be quite dangerous. This is why we have to pay close attention to make sure that we not just keep ourselves safe, but also care for others' well-being. In this video, we see a driver who was planning to turn right, and since he must have focused on cars, he failed to see a motorcycle. The unsuspecting biker was driving straight and wasn't able to react in time once his path was cut off. In this unfortunate turn of events, we see that a motorcycle just slightly touches the car, but even this is enough to cause an accident. The motorcycle driver fell near the scene, but that isn't the only scary thing about this incident. A moment after the person fell to the ground, we see a shadow appearing right above them. It seems as if it's the motorcycle driver standing next to his body. We even see people who run to provide help, but they do not notice what appears to be the driver's soul hovering right above its body. People who were at this place kept doing their best to prevent further harm. But as we can clearly see, the motorcycle driver's soul seems to be lingering and observing everything. Number 6. The soul of a deceased member appears at the family home. There are many cases where people have sensed and felt that their loved ones who have passed away are watching over them and making sure they are safe. Even though not many of these are caught on camera, it sometimes happens to be so. This family has lost a son, and a while after, they have captured footage of a spirit or a soul standing in their home looking exactly like the family member who has passed away. Since the devil is in the details, we can also mention that the soul that was caught on camera even appears to have a beard, similar to what the man's parents describe he has had. Number 7. A spirit noticed flying in the sky. These people were filming and making casual footage when a very unexpected thing decided to show up. In the video, the sky is covered with clouds, and nothing seems to be out of the ordinary. However, at one point, the man who was filming noticed that something strange had flown by, and it seemed it was heading for the sky. The man tried to rationalize what was happening, thinking that it could even be a bird, but apparently it didn't have such a shape. Instead of wings, it seems more like a ghostly orb that flew out of nowhere and right into the sky. We aren't sure any material being or technology could explain this type of movement mid-air. Number 8. Glowing orbs appear as the woman's spirit leaves her body. In this next example, we will see the exact moment as a person's soul transitions from their body to another place. What we see here in the beginning is a woman who has come to terms with her life and is about to leave the world behind. At this moment, her soul is clearly showing, and it was caught by a camera. Its presence is captured as glowing orbs that fly across the room. This could be telling us that her spirit is left unburdened and is at ease. Number 9. The soul leaves the body after a car accident. On this road, a car accident has occurred. 2 vehicles have collided, and apparently the owner of the red car couldn't be resuscitated. Even though we see many people trying to provide aid, there is no hope for the driver. On the other hand, as this video clip shows us, the person's soul seems to leave the scene at one point. If you pay close attention to the car, just before this police officer starts walking towards the vehicle, we see what appears to be a person's soul that exited the car and spread its arms, or possibly wings. After doing so, it flew towards the sky. Even though there were many witnesses to this occurrence, none of them noticed that this person's soul had left their body. Number 10. A soul leaves the body after the heart has stopped. This next scary case shows what occurred in 2017. A person who we see lying was seemingly about to pass away. Everyone that's standing around them may not be aware of this. They may think the patient is stabilized, and the devices controlling his state confirm this. This video has captured this scary yet amazing moment. People move around this patient, and after they have concluded that there isn't anything to be done, they leave the room. What happens next is exactly what will surprise us. At first, we see a slight movement where their hand is. While this doesn't have to be out of the ordinary, what the camera has caught next are some very disturbing movements that we can't definitely explain. As soon as the device shows signs that the patient's heart has stopped, we see what appears to be the soul exiting the body and flying toward the sky. As one could expect, this could be interpreted as a sign that this fight was lost. Even though medical technicians have tried to reanimate the person, it may be that a body without a soul wouldn't do us much good, and that we need both components to enjoy our lives. Number 11. A man's soul flies right in front of a street camera. This next video will show us that sometimes the levitation of the soul can be so quick that it's tough to even notice. In the beginning, we see that some form of confrontation is happening in the streets, and as the outcome of it, a soul appears and gets caught by a street camera. If you haven't caught it the first time, pay close attention, as we will see that this man's body is the exact point from which the flight of the soul begins. It quickly flies across the street and then moves right in front of the camera, which has caught the footage. This soul has flown by at such an amazing speed that it was challenging to notice its shape, but as the video slows down, we can see that it can remind us of a person. Number 12. A man came face to face with a roaming soul. Souls seem to sometimes linger in places where they are separated from the body. In this hospital, this soul appears to be roaming the hallways. A man sensed that something was going on, and he turned on his camera to capture this scary video. He has caught a glimpse of something that can't be identified as human. For a brief moment, something seems to peek out of the door, and it appears as if it is looking at the man who is filming it. This spirit either doesn't notice or doesn't care that the man is there, and after checking the hallway, it appears to move to the center of it. The shape of this shade clearly seems like a human, leading us to believe it may be the soul of one. Realizing he has come face to face with something unreasonable, the man decides to hide in another room and leave the thing alone. Number 13. Car accident footage shows a soul. This next video could be interpreted as another example that shows us that souls sometimes stay near the body soon after they have left it. The footage that was made at the scene of a car accident has caught something that can't be scientifically explained. As it seems to be quite a tragic accident, we notice that multiple vehicles, including an ambulance, are parked next to the smashed car. While we do see that there are people at the back of the ambulance vehicle, they don't seem to be alone. However, this visitor doesn't appear to be a material one. We see a shadow standing right next to the woman doing something in the back. Besides standing right next to the woman, the shadow appears almost as if it is sad about what happened. Number 14. A man's soul flies toward the sky. Cameras are sometimes used as a way to monitor those that we care for and whose health requires a lot of attention. Relying on this way to help the father of the family keep his well-being, this household has caught the moment that his soul leaves his body. Even though it may not be a great comfort, the family knew what was about to happen, and they had the chance to say their goodbyes. According to the story of the man's son, they were able to communicate, and the son believes his father used the opportunity while his mother was away to leave the world behind. The support of the man's family is easily recognizable as we see a caring son sitting next to him and holding his hand. At this point, the patient is moving his mouth as if he's responding to the caring words that his son is saying to him. This makes it clear that the man is present at that point. To calm his father, the man even sings him a song. After he had finished singing, something amazing happened, and it was caught on camera. His man's soul appears to have left his body, and it manifests as a series of shining orbs flying upward. Throughout the video, these barely noticeable flashes appear, capturing the moment that the man's spirit has moved on. Even though his son was in the room, he didn't see these flying orbs immediately, and it took him some time to realize that his father's spirit had flown toward the sky just a moment ago. Number 15. A soul flies around the room as the man sleeps. We sometimes see unbelievable videos that make us wonder what else could be there that we aren't aware of. In the previous video, we saw that a man's soul has manifested as a glowing orb and has left his body behind. In the following video, we see a similar appearance, but this one has a different dynamic. This man was firmly sleeping during the night, but the camera captured footage that shows us that it wasn't as calm a night as he had imagined it to be. After looking at the footage from a security camera, he noticed that a spirit or a soul was moving around his room. This shining orb first seems to fly straight into the man's body. After sticking around for a while, it shows itself once again by glowing, this time at the corner of the room. This spirit was playful since, at the end of the video, it shoots out from the man's body and towards the roof of the house. Number 16. Soul pushes the hospital bed over. The next scary thing occurred at a hospital where a security camera caught this footage. The soul we will soon recognize shows itself in this video and holds a grudge against this hospital bed. If we pay close attention, we can see from the get-go that there are glitches at the center of the screen. If we focus more on the details of this flickering, we will notice that its shape and size seem to change as the video progresses and the bed begins moving around. It eventually gets thrown aside. Soon after, we can even see that there is a man who walks nearby and notices that something is happening. Realizing that this bed is left unattended, he starts walking towards the one closest to him. But as he gets near it, the angry soul seems to steal it away from him. The man immediately realizes he does not want to be a part of this experience and leaves the bed behind. Number 17. Man falls asleep and his soul leaves his body. As one could expect, a lot of departures of the soul are likely to happen at places such as hospitals. In this next video, we see a man who has gone to sleep, but as we will soon find out, while his soul may leave this place, his body won't. Everything appears to be calm and uneventful, but soon we see that something weird is going on. Even if we were to write off what we see constantly happening on the screen as some glitches, we can't deny that at one point something has moved across the room. If we pay close attention, we see that this something moved right before the man's arm twists in a weird way, and his soul seemingly stands up right from where he's lying, leaving the body behind. This scary scene doesn't even end there. At first, the soul appears to sit at the edge of the bed, and afterward, we see it walk away and leave the room. This video can certainly pose some questions about the nature of our soul and what happens once it has left our physical body. Number 18. A man's soul flies out of his body. As we have seen in the previous example, the connection between the body and the soul is essential for life. In any case, what would one be without the other? The next video we examine confirms that the two may be inseparable, at least as long as the person is wide awake and living their life. In the last moments of this man's life, we see him moving his head slightly, just before his soul appears on the video. As this manifestation of the man's spirit has appeared, we see that he has drawn his last breath. The shade that is well contrasted against the white wall behind it, leaving the man's body behind. Number 19. A soul appears in a morgue. We know that wandering souls often appear where death has occurred. Since this is quite a usual thing to happen near a morgue, this is where the next clip takes us. At the beginning, there seems to be nothing especially worrisome or interesting in the footage, but as the video progresses, we start to see a shade at the end of this hallway. This shade appears not just to have a human shape, but it also moves for a brief second as if it's walking. In the next second, however, it dashes through the hallway at a great speed. This clearly shows us it wasn't a person who pulled this off, but rather that it could be a soul that has just been separated from its body. Number 20. A soul flies through a man's body. Something that we have by now seen happen many times is that people are usually unaware that the soul is present at the scene. This final video will be another confirmation that such occurrences may be happening even when there aren't cameras around to capture them. This seemingly uneventful footage came from a camera that is pointed at a staircase leading to an entrance of a building. We then see a man who is entirely unaware that there could be a wandering spirit around. The man proceeds to walk up the stairs, but almost as if he has triggered the spirit's movement, we see a blurry echo of a soul moving first through the man and then down the stairs. The spirit then leaves, but shortly after, we see it again. It looks as if it is standing right at the bottom of the stairs for a while before it finally flies away. Now that we have reviewed this list of videos, which shows 20 occasions on which a camera has caught a soul leaving the body, we can say that it was quite a journey. After reviewing all these exciting and occasionally frightening cases, we could be left with various questions and intrigues. But besides sparking our imagination, these videos also remind us that even we may occasionally cross paths with various souls that could reside in a world that indeed surrounds our own. On the other hand, it seems it can't be seen by those who are not as of yet a part of it. As we near the end of this video, we thank you for following us on this mysterious journey. We acknowledge and appreciate your open-minded approach and the ability to wonder about unexplainable events such as those we have witnessed today.